Welcome to Friday's devotional, again looking at two chapters of Deuteronomy, chapters 12 and 13, talking about where and how to worship and influences to avoid. So in chapter 12, we see this idea that God wanted the nation to worship in one central location, the tabernacle, and then ultimately that would transfer to the temple. Why? Well, it was to keep the worship practices, which also then meant the worship ideas, which also meant the fruit of what that worship created in the worshiper, all focused in on God. The Canaanite nations, they had their own gods that they worshiped. And these gods required things like child sacrifice or it was the idea of I can make myself prosper. I can get my fields to be fertile if I go to the temple of the fertility goddess and engage in the sexual rituals that were part of worship of the Canaanite gods. Again, you can go online and find more about the details of those practices if that's kind of curiosity of what was this then, and why was this so dangerous morally and spiritually to the nation? It just was. Because here's the thing about worship. We become what we worship. We become like what we hold to be of highest value in our lives. And so just a simple and maybe kind of cliche example. If I worship success, if what I want, what I see the good life being is nice house, two nice vehicles, vacations when COVID's over, that materialistic, prosperous life, if that's what is of greatest worth to me, then it's going to shape my life. It will shape how I work, how much I work, how I interact with my family, how much I interact with my family. If someone or something is getting in the way of me getting ahead, well, I will work against them. I will even hate them because they are standing between me and my goal. We become like the object of our worship. And God was very much through Moses here saying to the nation, keep your focus on me. Don't let there be any influence that you allow to hang around you that can keep you from keeping me at the center. Because God's some egomaniac? No. Because God has made us in his image to flourish, to be reflections of who he is and his nature and his character and his being, his love and his grace and his goodness. And so he wants to keep the people protected from anything that would hinder his life manifesting in and through them. And so this thing about high places, the beginning of chapter 12, high places were a customary, a Canaanite place of, or pagan place of worship. The idea being it's close to where the gods live. It's up high, so it's closer to them. They're better able to hear or listen, or that's kind of the closer place to where heaven and earth intersect. And God's going, the Holy of Holies, the tabernacle, where I am with you, that's the place to focus. That's the place to be. Chapter 13, we see false prophets being warned against, or those that would bring messages that would, again, deny or detract or hinder people from following God and what he has already said and what he's already revealed about himself to be. He's like, if a family member tells you something that's wrong about me, don't listen to them. And there's some very strong language here about cut out the influence that is intentionally, purposefully drawing or seeking to draw you away from me. Jesus will say something along the same lines in the Sermon on the Mount, where he talks about, if something's causing you to sin, something you see is causing you to sin, pluck out your eye. Did Jesus mean to literally pluck it out? No. Was Jesus meaning to literally do what you can to avoid that temptation, that influence? Yeah. What's more important? Jesus, again, the language, to be blind in one eye, to lose half your sight, but your whole body end up being drawn in a life of worship away from the only one who's truly worthy of our worship, of our allegiance. Worship is simply, at its root, we worship by what we have oriented our life around. And so worship shows in everything we do. We're called to be fully devoted to Jesus, that every area of our life is aligned with his character, with his teaching, with his nature, with his mission. Are we going to get it all right? No. We're in process. We're apprentices. But God promises that as we devote ourselves to him, as we offer ourselves as living sacrifices, we will, because that's our spiritual act of worship that Paul says there in Romans 12, 1 and 2, then we see what God's will is. Because we're saying, God, I'm laying myself completely before you. You are my focus. Because as you focus on me, it will become clear to you what my will is. Because we're looking to become like the one who's made us. I could go on. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you. And today, as you look to him, would you know his peace? God bless.